between every disclosure concept in FASB standards, Regulation SX, the IFRS bound volume. Okay? It could be to any concepts you want it to be. It could be to your own company's audit procedures, your audit manuals, your subject matter experts, yada yada. It doesn't make any difference. And then it pops up just like you want it to when your people are looking at those financial statements. So think about this platform as a way to have pervasive knowledge management. In other words, anybody in your firm now knows what anybody in your firm knows. It's not isolated to just the person's knowledge. It's not implicit knowledge any longer, it's explicit. Okay, so I've talked enough about this. I know you're all from California, but I'm going to pretend like you're from Missouri. I'm going to show you what this is about. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you what XBRL actually looks like. So here is actually a company's 10K tagged in XBRL. It's going to cooperate with me. Here it is. Here we go. This is a little company called Microsoft. It's their 10K, and you can all see how this looks. Now, you'll note here that it has a note, so there's narrative information. This includes their notes for the financials and also their MD&A concepts. Can anybody read this? You can read it as a human, but it's not meant for you to read. Now, when people say, well, I got to tag my financials, this is what they mean. This is not what you're going to use. Let me show you an example of what I mean. You see this? You see this website? Okay. Let me show you what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Okay, that's HTML. That's what you see. HTML, what you see. You get the point? So just because something's structured doesn't mean it's bad. It's actually very good. So let me show you what this looks like in terms of what you'd actually see. Here's the Microsoft income statement. This is what it looks like on their investor relations page. Now I ask you a question. Here's the question. How long would it take you to find the note disclosures and MD&A disclosures for research and development expense for Microsoft? It's right here on the financial statement. How long would it take you to do that? Where are they? Pardon me? They're in the back of the financial statements. They're on pages 47 through 48 and on pages 112 through 115. And of course, we all know that, right? I was in a meeting earlier this week at the United Nations, and I had the director of financial reporting at Microsoft sitting right there. I asked him the question, he didn't even know. Okay? So the idea of having a linear document, that's our problem. And as CPAs who are doing review processes, you realize that even though this may take you a few minutes, why can't I say, again, just click it and there it is. There's research and development expense. There's sales and marketing. There's general administrative. There's investment income and other. There's provision for income taxes. Why can't I have the document come to me in the way I want to see it? Why can't I say to the document, show me everything related to income taxes? Show me everything related to inventory? It puts our review process in a completely different way. Now, that would be of use to you, even though you can review these in a private way. It doesn't have to be in the public domain. Let me show you what they're doing for key performance indicators. Here's Microsoft's key performance indicators. I'm back to the same point. There's an idea here called OEM. Where's the definition for OEM? Again, it's on page 82. Well, no, it's not. All I have to do is mouse over it. I just mouse over it, there it is. There's the definition of XBRL being exposed to you to read very simply. One other point on this one, I'll move on to the next demo, is if I actually look at the underlying key performance indicators for Microsoft, they've got them all here on a long page. So these are all the KPIs, and the definitions are all here. I just need to mouse over them. The definitions are all here, but here's my point. You see this long page of KPIs? These are obviously non-financial information. This is all out of their MD&A. The point is, this page that you're looking at with all these disclosures, it doesn't really exist. It doesn't exist. The data is in a bunch of underlying documents that are scattered on their IR site, their investor relations site. That data is being rendered up into a little viewing template that you're looking at. All this is like an Excel file with some queries in it that says, go fetch this data. And that template was prepared in Microsoft Excel. So think about what I'm saying to you in terms of how you actually access data. I have an Excel file with queries in it that says, go get the data. Every time I open that Excel file, it's going to refresh itself with that data. The data is in the underlying documents. What it means is my ability to look at data in completely different ways, then the linear way it's presented in the underlying documents just goes through the roof. And I can draw pictures, I can do anything I want with this data. It's now very reusable across multiple applications. Yes, sir?
Okay, let's say I'm going to use this on my next audit, and I'm going to go ahead and input all the information on here. But when I get done for the next couple of years, my clients are still going to need the financial statements in the same form they've got in the past. Will XBRL go ahead and give me the ability to print that out for them?
Yes. XBRL can render information in any format you want. In fact, the Reuters example I showed you earlier is a full-blown PDF document. It's Adobe Acrobat. So you can print that as a human readable, or you can print it as XBRL.
So where do we go download XBRL so I can start using it tomorrow?
There's actually the XBRL.org website or XBRL.us. By the way, it's a good question. It's a freely available concept. It's like HTML. It's an internet standard. It doesn't cost you something. It's not a piece of software. It's simply a way to format information. And they're in this deck, and I'd be happy to send it. Loretto will be happy to distribute it. There's a bunch of resources in the appendix that are freely available in terms of training courses and places where you can go to learn case studies, software, blah, blah, blah. Let me show you another quick demo here. What I want to do now is I want to aggregate 60 companies into an Excel worksheet, and then I'm going to do drill downs, and then I'm going to play with them some. So I want to repeat this. I'm going to go get 60 companies, different companies, income statements, and I'm going to put them in Excel. How long are you thinking that's going to take me? Really? You're thinking hours or days? Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking seconds. In fact, I'm thinking about 20 seconds, and I'm starting, as you can see, with a blank Excel worksheet. So on the right-hand side, there's actually the taxonomy. And I'm going to read this to you just so you can understand what it says, because those angle brackets I showed you earlier really are just what the computer sees. What you see are completely technical concepts like income statement, revenue, cost of goods, services sold, gross profit, operating expenses, operating income. You get the point? These are basic accounting concepts. The technologies are in the software. What you get to do is have a much more efficient process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically grab this taxonomy and drag it into Excel, and then it populates all my rows. So now my rows know what they're looking for. So I've created a model, but I need to now go get the columns. So I go back to the SEC Edgar website, which is what I'm looking at on the right, and I drag in the years I want, which are 2005 and 2006. Once I've done that, I simply hit the refresh data button, and it pulls in the data. Bam, there I'm done. Okay? Then I'm going to do drill down. I simply hit the row that I want, which is total revenue, call that data up again, boom, there it is. Okay? Now, I'm not happy with this. I want to actually go, I'm going to investigate ADP, which is a company that does payroll, so I simply go in here, go back to the SEC website, drag over ADP into the columns, hit the refresh data button, there's ADP's data. Okay? Changes the way we do business. Now, let me show you one other example. Proxy disclosures, not just for financial statements, this is for proxy disclosures. So let's go look at another California company. We'll look at Google. This is proxies are now, the SEC went and structured all of those documents in XBRL. So here's Eric Schmidt. That's what he made in compensation last year. I want you to think about, especially those in litigation, how long it would take you to do what I just did. So in 2 mouse clicks in roughly 2 or 3 seconds, I was able to sort that one out. I'll go back to Google. I want to mention Google because I found this interesting. Here's the president. Here's his compensation. $1,700. I just found that amazing. Compared to this guy, this is a big energy company in the Midwest. You know, he's got a $16 million. So my point here is, from an investor perspective, this is a pretty powerful concept to be able to suck that information up so quickly. Now, I don't want to go back there. In this deck,